any questions to LEGOLAND Florida or to Central Florida or to Attraction Tickets Direct, then we will be happy to see if we can answer any of them. Please. Yeah.
Hi, Catherine Laurie, TTG. I've got a question concerning... Thank you, is that better? Catherine Laurie, TTG. I've got a question concerning ticket sales, which I think John and Ollie can both answer. What's your sort of expectation for ticket sales in the first year for the entire park? That's to John. And then Ollie, can you break that down into ATD and do something different?
Yep. You can't answer that question, so I'll make it up. To answer that, you have to sort of understand the trading backdrop at the moment. And to answer this fully, so I'll give you a little bit of how I see it. The customers are having to budget and they have to plan, and they're not really making impulse buys. We're finding what we call tier 2 or tier 3 attractions incredibly difficult to sell over and above the major attractions. So the answer to that question comes back to really how much are you all going to write about the park, and give it how much publicity it's going to get. Because I think it will come into people's plans. I think it will come into be part of their itinerary, but only if they know about it, and only if they can plan to spend that extra £140 on their holiday, which is about what it is, £39 for adults, £33 for children, around about that level. 2-day tickets are better value. So I would expect year one, depending on the amount of coverage it gets, 5 to 10% of our customers to buy Legoland tickets, and I expect that to be the same across the market. So if there's 1.3 million visitors to Florida, I would expect between 5 and 10% of those customers to be visiting the attraction. It always makes it look silly when you're trying to predict the future, but that would be my feeling on it. I think it's got a better chance of having penetration and becoming part of people's itinerary than most other new or tier 2 attractions, if you like. The brand itself is right up there with the big three.
As Ollie indicated, we cannot disclose exact budget figures or attendance numbers for individual attractions, but as I said before, we are expecting this to be, we are making this the biggest Legoland park we've ever opened. And as I said, we have not been disappointed so far, at least on the receptions and the indications we've had from the market, from the consumer, the travel trade, etc. So the word is definitely very strongly out there, and the interest is there from tourists as well as locals to visit the park. So,
do you have a daily capacity for the park?
We have the benefit that more than anywhere else actually that we operate, that we will have a very flat season when you're looking at it. And as I said, we've made this park the biggest so far opened, and we won't have the same capacity problems that we typically see, or issues that we typically see in our European parks, where we have very peak periods in the summer trading period, and then a very flat season outside of that, and even periods where the park is closed. So we do not expect a capacity problem. I'll say it that way. If we have a capacity problem, we will be very happy, and we will have lots of resources to expand very quickly with new attractions also to the park. Unfortunately, we have the space also to do that.
Ollie, can I ask you, are these tickets being sold just for Legoland, or are you linking them in with any other sales? I mean, you often do that. You can get 2 parks or 3 parks.
Yeah.
And Merlin certainly do that in the UK. So
yep. It wouldn't fit naturally into what the product bundles we've got at the moment, which are all 14-day bundles, but it's not a bad idea, Trish. You could do a new to do Florida ticket, or you could do a repeat visitor Florida ticket. No, we have thought about that. It doesn't fit into what we've got, but yeah, new to do. Yeah, repeat visitor. Tickets work well when they're bundled, and it would work well with, perhaps a SeaWorld Busch Gardens bundle.
At the moment, if you want to go to Legoland, you buy it on its own.
At the moment, if you want to go to Legoland, buy it on your own. Yeah, we'll release something.
Central Florida have actually done, sort of for the attractions local to Legoland, have in the past done tickets for those particular attractions. So, as soon as anything, if there is anything like that under development, we'll let you know, because it has been done in the past very successfully for the area. So.
Oh, it's getting time.
Any other last questions maybe?
I had a great question for, was it Joe, sorry?
Yes.
I wanted to ask a bit more generally about Florida's tourism.
Where are you from? Sorry.
Sorry, Nick Hagan from Faro.
Yes.
I wanted to ask about Florida's tourist industry more generally. So, I mean, Ollie touched on it briefly, but
Yep.
in terms of recovery from the downturn, is it fair to say that's now happening or has happened? And where are you? And more broadly, what are the challenges going forward to sort of recover the losses from that period?
It is happening. I mean, Florida is still, from an overseas market perspective, it's still sort of the number one, or certainly up there in the top ranking attractions. But don't forget that it also has quite a strong domestic market as well. And sort of you get snowbirds coming down, out of season for us, but in season very much for them. And if you talk to the Vacation Home Management Association, they have had a pretty consistent, steady flow of sort of customers from both the UK and the domestic market. I can, if you give me your card afterwards, I can give you specific stats, and I mean that applies to anybody. We do have stats that we can access, that we can sort of give you that answer your very specific questions. But I think yes, there was a downturn, and of course it was felt. But if you talk to them, they will say, as I think Ollie said in his, yes, we felt the recession, but it's not had as big an impact as we thought it might. They've still, sort of, there's not many vacation management companies, for example, that have closed. They're still functioning and they're still growing.
The most reliable numbers come based on direct arrivals. It's the only way they can measure stats of people going into America is people who fly point to point. They're down, but there is a limited capacity from the UK at the moment, and especially during peak seasons. So people are finding a way in.
We're restricted by the airlines going direct into the area because they've reduced.
Do you think you'll find it's going to get better when BA have announced they're going to be taking flights out of the Caribbean and pushing them to Florida? Is that going to help?
Probably.
I would hope. And we run a tour operator as well, and we find during peak season people will find a way in, whether it's US Airways or American. They will find a way in, and they don't get classed within the stats, but the stats don't look great, the numbers don't look great, year on year 4% down.
But I can get you actual stats for the capacity in the area and the percentage if you like, no problem.
Hi, I'm Lucy from Control Weekly. Ollie, you said that you need us all to write about it for people to know about it, which is fine, I'm sure you will, but are you going to be doing any particular campaigns in the UK? I mean, shows that advert there, are you going to do TV advertising in the UK, or what marketing are you going to see? Can you pronounce it?
For me?
John.
We won't be advertising on TV.
I don't know, but they can be working with us.
Yeah, go on, John.
Yeah, we won't do any direct consumer advertising on TV and so on, like you saw on that was more an ad that developed for the Central Florida market. But what we will do in the UK, reach out through the travel trade, and especially then through Lego channels. The word will come out very, very strongly. We're running a promotion in the Lego Club at the moment. It just started, I think it launched yesterday, where if you are interested in Lego, again, there are millions of fans around there, and through club magazines and on the web page and so on, which our consumers, our Legos consumers are visiting frequently, they'll learn about the fact that there's this great new thing opening in Florida, and that will drive the interest for them to go out and find out about travel packages and so on. So that would be the main point of communication, I would say.
Lends itself to trade, though.
And Nigel, please.
Yeah, I was just going to add, Nigel from LEGOLAND Florida. Lucy, just given that you're a trade publication, we're working exceptionally closely with trade, with ATD, which is the director of do something different, but all the major Florida tour operators and wholesalers, and we'll be working increasingly closely with them to get that message through the trade and ultimately to the consumer. And it's a very, it's a very important channel for us. Thankfully for me, one of the first things that LEGOLAND Florida did was recognise the trade channel as a distribution channel, which is what I'm responsible for. So it's an extremely important channel, and ATD and do something different are extremely important to us within that.
And also, Sally Ann Wilkinson from Merlin, there'll also be a major PR campaign running in the UK market, so PR will be a very important PR will be a very important medium for the UK market, particularly next year.
think we've got to get out there.
The swirl room, for those of you who don't know, is halfway down the wall as you come out of the out of this